All right, let's talk about unlocking something pretty special. You know that magical zone where you're just completely in it, where focus feels effortless, your creativity is just firing on all cylinders, and you feel totally absorbed and even joyful in what you're doing? Yep, today we're talking all about flow state.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. Have you ever been so deep into something? Maybe it was playing an instrument, maybe you were coding or running, or hey, even just organizing your closet. And suddenly you look up and hours have just vanished? They felt like minutes. That feeling? That's exactly what we're diving into today.
So, that amazing experience actually has a name. It's called flow state. It's this mental state of complete immersion, where you've got this energized focus and you're just totally involved and, believe it or not, actually enjoying the process. It's that moment you're so locked in, you might literally forget to eat. The task in front of you, it becomes your entire world.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The world seems to have only the task at hand. It really captures that feeling. It's not about you wrestling with your brain, trying to force yourself to focus. No, it's more like focus just finds you, and everything else just fades away.
Okay, so how do we get there? The cool thing is, achieving flow isn't just some random lightning strike. It actually comes down to one golden rule. Finding that perfect, delicate balance between how challenging a task is and how good you are at it.
This little matrix here explains it all perfectly. Look, if your skills are way up here, but the task is super easy, what happens? You get bored, right? You're just zoning out. On the flip side, if the task is incredibly difficult and your skills aren't quite there yet, you feel anxious, overwhelmed. But that sweet spot, right in the middle, where a high challenge meets your high skill, that's the magic zone. That's where flow lives.
So your goal is to find tasks that are, as the source puts it, pa fut pa vieng. It basically means evenly matched. Think of it like a good fight or a great game. You're looking for something that stretches your abilities right to the edge but doesn't completely overwhelm you. That's where real engagement kicks in. All right, so we've got the golden rule down. Now for the fun part. Let's build our toolkit. How do we actually create the right conditions to build our own flow engine and make this happen more often, on purpose?
Okay, here's a really powerful technique, the pre-flow ritual. Seriously, think about it like an athlete warming up before a big game. Just taking 10, maybe 15 minutes to do the same simple thing every time, like clearing your desk, putting on a specific song, or making a cup of tea. It trains your brain. It's a trigger that tells your mind, okay, it's time to get serious, it's time for deep focus. You're basically signaling a gear shift.
Now, beyond that little warm-up ritual, there are 3 things that absolutely have to be in place. First, you need a super clear, specific goal. No vagueness. Second, you have to actually believe you can meet the challenge. You got to have that confidence. And third, this one's key. You need an immediate feedback loop. You need to know right away how you're doing. Think about a gamer seeing their score go up, or a musician hearing the perfect note. That's the feedback that keeps you locked in.
And check this out. You can think of these 4 triggers as different ways to get into the zone. You can pull the cognitive lever by just going all in on one single task. Or you can use an environmental trigger. Get rid of every single distraction. Then there's the creative one, where you start connecting different ideas in new ways. And you can even have a social trigger, like when you're working with a team and you're all just perfectly in sync. It's awesome.
You know, getting into flow is a two-sided coin. It's just as much about what you stop doing as it is about what you start doing. So yeah, you want to cultivate single tasking and self-confidence, but you also have to actively eliminate the flow killers, multitasking, all those notifications, self-doubt, and saying yes to everything. It's addition by subtraction.
Okay, now we're getting to the big one, the final boss. Because honestly, the biggest obstacle to flow, it's usually not the noisy coworker or the pings on your phone. The toughest barrier is almost always the one inside our own heads.
And there's a really powerful concept for this called the amygdala hijack. This is when fear and anxiety literally hijack your brain. They take over the controls, and that calm, energized focus you need for flow, it becomes like biologically impossible. Your brain's emergency system is just blaring.
So what's triggering this hijack? Well, the source points to at least 10 common fears that are constantly getting in our way, blocking us from ever reaching that state of flow.
And I bet some of these are going to sound familiar. You've got the fear of failure, of course, but also the fear of success, the fear of what other people will think, fear of the unknown, fear of taking on more responsibility. See what I mean? All that internal chatter is the ultimate distraction. It makes it impossible to just immerse yourself in what you're doing.
So, what do you do about it? Well, the solution isn't to pretend the fear isn't there or to fight it. It's to acknowledge it. You see it, you nod at it, and then you consciously shift your focus. You take your mind off the outcome, whether you're going to win or lose, succeed or fail, and you put all your attention right back onto the effort, the process, the quality of the work you're doing in this very moment. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? We're all chasing flow because we want better results, right? Peak performance. But what if that's not the real prize? What if the greatest reward isn't the finished product at all, but the incredible, profound joy you find in the process, and that amazing feeling of just giving something your absolute, undivided all?